Snapfire actually got through here, and it's now going to be incredibly important for this Earthshaker. He's the only tool they have as of right now to defend that egg. He's going to be the best one to get in between these Four Zoomers heroes and just floating on top of you, and that's great, but it needs to happen. If it doesn't happen, you see that a pretty much immediate collapse here, and it's something that Four Zoomers do very well, especially with the Chen. They just get on top of you, they flood you with the creeps, especially early on before the Shaker is going to have his Blink Dagger. Four Zoomers are going to play at a much faster speed, and I think that's where in their final hero, we're probably going to see some more mid bans, probably some respect to Gunner. And I do like the Sand King. That's another hero to chain with, but we've also seen the Sand King versus Tiny matchup before in this tournament, and it almost exasperates the problem with you're playing so close to the Tiny. The odds you end up dying or just getting mopped up by the Tiny's cleave or just his Avatos combo are quite likely. It's going to be a very rough game for Frank.
Frank can be called upon to initiate for sure, and maybe throw down that epicenter, but as we've seen repeatedly with the likes of Moo playing it, yeah, that's very often a one-way ticket. You go in, but you are sacrificing yourself, so someone else has to bear the brunt of the sort of burden for actually dealing damage. If they've got Ember or Earthshaker in the hands of Leo style, then that would be a potentially solid hero to sort of step up into that role, but as of right now, still can't be 100% sure which one he's going to play.
Yeah, and I really am kind of grinding my gears here. I'm trying to think. It feels, at least my gut feeling, is that Lava are very clearly missing a Kataro hero. They're missing their objective taker. They're missing their Roche. And okay, Faceless Void, that would have certainly fixed some of their lockdown issues. But I think that's where Lava are really going to need to dig deep here, because these are going to be very selective bans coming in from Four Zoomers. Meanwhile, if you're Lava, even if you ban out the few mid laners left, maybe a respect ban on the Storm Spirit, even though I probably wouldn't pick Storm Spirit versus Lava, it's where you always have this option. The Snap can go mid, the Tiny can go mid, the Pango can go mid, and that's where, I guess, assuming that Moo can still take this Tiny to the off lane if they really need to, then they ban out the Costabile Morphling, but it's also the Gunner Morphling. So Four Zoomers surely feel just a little bit more open to whatever Lava pick here with their final selection.
In the meantime, Four Zoomers looking at presumably another carry. I don't know, that Vasus ban was an interesting one, because, like you said, it helped out with the lockdown, but I don't know really how much you synergize with the rest of the lineup, so maybe Kataro was looking at in that direction. Seems a little unlikely. Four Zoomers, though, what else can they do? We've seen Kataro on the Troll now, the Luna.
Medusa ban?
Oh,
I feel like if it doesn't get banned out, then that's probably where we're heading. In Razor, now that's a tell. That's a little bit of a tip of the hat, because you don't ban Razor for any reason. Four Zoomers are going to slam something now that Lava, I guess, might not be ready for, but now I really am wondering, are they going to pick the Lifestealer? Is that what we're about to see from Four Zoomers? That would be a little bit crazy, but I mean, the leash is gone. You're not going to get walked anymore, and we've seen the Lifestealer situationally valued versus both the Sand King and the Phoenix in the past, but that has to be something for Four Zoomers. You don't ban Razor for no reason.
Only time you ban that out is if you're planning to pick up something that I would have just completely trashed if you let the Razor through. So, a little bit of intrigue being thrown here on the back end of this draft, and now Lava scratching their heads thinking, what are they planning? Why did they ban the Razor? What do we have to be worried about here? They do have some time to think that over, but yeah, they do decide on the Lifestealer ban. So, well, Lifestealer, not a hero that we see banned out all too often, but in that circumstance, it really did feel like that was a direction Four Zoomers were going in. Now the question is, do Four Zoomers have to do something else, or was that all just a bait for what they really wanted? Can't really tell based on the Jug pickup. It's still going to be useful for them, but I don't know whether that was a bait or not. But they get Costabile on a hero that really doesn't have to worry as much about the lockdown that Lava have.
Yeah, and of course, you don't know who's baiting who at this stage of the game. If the Razor ban is very telegraphed, so you force opponents to ban the Lifestealer, and then you open yourself up for the Juggernaut, which is a very popular hero, got picked in 2 of the 5 games in the best of 5 in Dubai, but will we see enough from Costabile is the new question. Is Moo, who is probably going to take the Tiny here, I guess you could still put it up on Gunner, even though then you're playing Tiny versus Ember Spirit, and then the Ember is basically just going to farm and walk away from you and not really give too much care. I still think Lava probably just picked the Medusa here. They say double down on team fight,
Oh,
and it's actually the PA. Okay, that's your age-old counter matchup versus the Juggernaut. So they say instead of going for team fight, we're going to look for this battle fury and then let Katara farm for as long as he can. But okay, we're in a farming battle a little bit here, but everybody else is so important. Remove the carries from the game. All 8 of the other heroes are going to be making plays constantly, and the success of those plays is what's going to buy the space for those carries to try and win the game for you.
Just an interesting choice with the PA. I mean, as you said, it is still going to be a farm fest. It would have been that way for the carries, regardless of if it was a PA or a Medusa, but that's about as far to the opposite end of that spectrum that you can get. It's not damage and durability from PA, it's just damage and maybe a little bit more damage, a little bit of damage thrown in. Like, if the PA gets caught, you're dead. So if you're Lava, you've got to do everything in your power to protect her, but if you can do that, you look at 4Zoomer's lineup, their durability is a little questionable as well.
Yeah, and that's where this game is going to be, I think, a little bit more fun. Everyone can die. Everybody can get picked off. Really, the Tiny is going to be the hardest one to bring down, but pre-level 12, he's also pretty easy to take down. It feels like, will 4Zoomers find that same level of success that Moog was able to find yesterday with his off-lane Tiny? He's going to be laning with Husky, presumably, because Husky always ends up going in the off-lane, and you do find that lane balance there, but that's also where Gunner is now going to have to prove everybody wrong about this mid Snapfire, and he's going up versus Leo style, a matchup where it is very easy for him to get his kisses disabled. It's very easy for him to kind of get played upon here, and now you wonder, has 4Zoomers fallen into the same trap where the rest of Lava's lineup is pretty good at dealing with the Snapfire? It really is just the Phoenix that falls short. Is he now almost baiting himself into an unwinnable Snap game? A lot of questions to be answered here, but this is a very, very close draft.
Very close, and I do like that they put Cat U on that Phoenix, because I think the last time we saw him play this hero, he was exceptionally good at getting the perfect spot for that egg, even into a lineup that on paper is supposed to be good at taking it down. He found that sweet spot of, I am still hitting you with the Supernova, with the DOT, you're still in stun range, but you can't go all in to hit onto that egg and actually kill me. So if Cat U can do that again, you don't really have to worry as much about the Snapfire as that counter. So if you're 4Zoomers, your positioning is going to be monumentally important in this game in terms of how you approach these team fights.
Yeah, and to that same point, it's about how really the Earthshaker and the Sand King are able to make the space in between. If they can create that distance, try to keep them as far away as possible, because once they get top on that egg, it is most likely going to die. It is going to be very easy for them to clean up, especially because they do pick up this Juggernaut that's just able to spin and immediately run for it. That's where the questions need to be answered. And it will boil down to really just one big team fight. Every time these teams clash against each other, Katara's probably not going to be there, but Katara will be there eventually. And I think that might be the difference maker here. As well as, hey, if they move away, that healing ward is going to be very potent. And it's why we saw the Juggernaut get picked up, I want to say, in Dubai, because, well, these heroes that have very strong burst damage, if you get pushed away, if you get healed up and they have the Chen, they have the burst healing, well, suddenly you miss it on that kill, and then you re-engage, and then you lose because you've used your abilities on Lava, and 4Zoomers still have more gas. I really think that's what it's going to boil down to.
And that has been a game plan that 4Zoomers have looked to so often, so frequently. They get that sort of first and second healer, and they bait you. And I said, you know, looking at their lineup, there were some questions on durability in terms of overall health bars. That is still very much true, but if you can drop down to half HP and then a healing ward and a Hand of God suddenly gets you back up, then your overall longevity is significantly better against a lineup in Lava who can't say the same, right? Your PA, as I mentioned, if she gets locked down, she's dead. Leo style on the Ember, you get locked down, you're dead. So maybe a little bit of potential bait and switch here on the 4Zoomer side if they can pull that one off consistently. In the meantime, Lava were dealing with some lag here. At the start, you saw a couple of their heroes, or players rather, DCing and trying to get back in, but it looks like they are ready to go now. So never want to have to deal with lag or high ping, especially not in Game 3 of an elimination series. So, you know, we'll give them all the time that they really need, because I don't think either side wants to win this off of a ping advantage.
Yeah, and that's where, you know, is in America's tournament, you know, the US East boys are always going to want to play on US East, and Lava are used to it, right? The SA boys, they're also playing on US East nonstop. It does just mean that sometimes you do get dropped out, you do get the startup lag, you do have to deal with that worst connection, but it hasn't stopped them before. But Kataro? Nah. too good, too quick on the draw. Gonna be able to heal under the tower as well, but you can see 4 Zoomers are definitely gonna try and gun for something early. Also, Moo, he did this last time as well, but I didn't get to really mention it. Wraith Band Tangos. Got the cool
Okay.
build.
Moo always does this, man. I mean, we saw the nulls come out from him on his Sand King. He's always on sort of the cutting edge of these offlaner builds. Doesn't hurt that he's playing a hero in the Tiny who normally doesn't sort of get into that offlane position. So,
Ooh.
yeah, you know, who can even say what a normal build for an offlane Tiny is at this point? As the D ward come in, that's a nice early one. Catyu crying a little bit as he is going to lose that vision down, and now they've taken the vision out of the middle lane, and they do have this nice high ground ward covering a lot of that south side jungle. Rotations from Lava are going to get scouted out all the time, and Catyu, yeah, you don't want to be here anymore. Doesn't want to scale Icarus Dive either, though, so he may just have to... Well, actually may just have to eat a death here, because he's not moving towards that tier 2 mid, so Z-Freak and Husky should just be able to run him down eventually.
Oh.
Oh.
And that's worst case scenario because, well, this is a little bit ugly. Does he decide to salve and walk to lane?
Courier?
Yeah, this is a little bit crazy here, and I guess Cat, you will make a break for it, but yeah, this courier, the poor weasel. Well,
That sucks. Courier dead. Icarus Dive had to be skilled and used. You are burning through your healing, and you haven't even actually started the laning stage yet, so not a fun time. The good news, at least, though, Kitaro and Catyu are so unbelievably obnoxious in this lane. Once Catyu hits level 2 and has the spirits, because they got the spirits, they got the daggers, and Moo is tanky, but that much damage from range with little sort of immediate opportunities to counter.
yeah, and we'll have to see. Right now, always the creep wave shenanigans, and Husky will be very obnoxious for Catyu, and like we said, without the spirits, level 1 doesn't really have what it takes to win the early trades. Of course, he can always just run away, but it does just mean that Husky gets to walk all over you a little bit, and as he always does on this Chen, he established small camp control, make sure it's not blocked up, has the ranged creep just to harass on the first few waves, and this means that the wave is going to push into the Tiny eventually.
All that coming off of strong play from Husky and unfortunate skilling from Catyu, but I mean, that's what we expect, right? These two teams, obviously, two of the stronger in the sort of NASA region, so it comes down to who can be forced into making that sort of mistake, and calling it a mistake is maybe a little bit too harsh for Catyu, because his alternatives were skill up Icarus Dive or straight die, so chose the one that keeps him alive and doesn't give up first blood, and now he's hit level 2, should just be able to sort of re-establish himself here. But up in the top lane, Frank getting run out a little bit early. He's going to look for the TP out, and will be able to make it back to his tower, but Gustavo and Z-Freak trying to go at him pretty early on.
Yeah, and of course they can afford to do it. It's why they go for the Juggernaut pick, and it's why I think the ban out of the Lifestealer needed to come through, but the same reason that the Lifestealer matchup is kind of poor for the Sand King is the same reason the Jug feels so good is, well, you do a lot of physical damage, you're always able to pretty much walk him down, and as soon as you feel like you're going to get burrow struck, then you go magic immune. And Frank doesn't have an answer to this. It's where I think if Moose really wants to help him out, as Costabile just denies the entire wave, you need to get the creep cuts going. You need to start getting cheeky with your plays. You can't win a straight up trade. And what they're doing instead is they're trying to maintain sentry control, so that way, at the very least, you can try and farm up with the Sandstorm, but it's always going to feel a little bit difficult here. At the very least, Costabile is kind of stuck in between the levels, so he doesn't have that healing ward, but that's where Z-Freak's there with the Salve. They just adapt so quickly on 4 Zoomers.
Speaking of adaptation, you mentioned Frank sort of trying to go about this. They have the sentry control, so he doesn't even have a point in the burrow right now. 2 points in the Sandstorm instead, so not really looking to play aggressively early on. The Sand King just wants as many last hits as you can get up against the Juggernaut, so this is honestly still fantastic, right? Sandstorm against a melee core is always going to have you feeling pretty good. The Caustic Finale means Gustavo can't afford to just sit in the wave either, so at least Frank is getting something out of this, but the aggressive potential in this lane basically doesn't exist.
No, definitely not, and that's where, yeah,
Game's
looking for the courier snipes, but isn't going to find anything. And at the same time, Z-Freak is also just a beast on the support. He's gotten the small camp stack. He's gotten the pull, I think, 2 or 3 times now, and it feels like they're winning a little bit too much in the top lane. And at the same time, if you're Lava, where do you go? Do you bring the Earthshaker mid? Do you try to look for a block off? It's very easy for him to make his appearance there, but without a smoke, it's very hard for it to go unnoticed. Not to mention, as soon as the Earthshaker leaves the lane, Frank has to pull for himself, and sure, it's gonna work, but it's also where Costabile is constantly getting vision of his laning opponent, and he knows that once the Sand King's alone, well, then he has basically a free time.
Yeah, not the greatest of situations here for Lava. Meanwhile, down bot, Kitaro, it's taking a little bit of damage there. Ooh, still able to hit him up with the avalanche toss. You always have to show respect to that as Cat you. Wow. Okay. Living dangerously, but now, yeah, here's the problem. Since Kitaro took so much damage, Cat has to use his salve on his carry and go back to base, whereas mid, Gunner makes the jump onto Leo style. Hits 6, gets the kisses, and your Ember, yeah, he's not level 6 yet, so he doesn't have the Remnant jump to get away from that, and Gunner strikes first.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not even a difference of whether or not they're denies. In fact, the Ember Spirit is ahead of those lane creeps. It's just the fact that Gunner is able to walk to that small camp, kill it instantly, and then walk back and then kill you. Well, and unfortunately for Leo Style, just wasn't aware of that. And it's a nice play, and Gunner always does this somehow. He always finds the solo kill. It's incredible.
And Leo style just not really able to do a whole lot. Even with multiple points up, 3 points in the Flame Guard, it's just too much damage with the kisses for him to deal with. But, well, Lava maybe looking to make a return play here. We got a rotation coming in from Kim. If he can get a nice fissure block here, I think they can go for this. He needs to be able to... Okay. Needs to be able to get them on the right side of the fissure, and that is not the right side. Moo and Husky both walk away, and... This is very unfortunate, because this was a long wrap from Kim. He did not TP down here. He walked all the way across the map. So, on the one hand, he can quickly TP now to wherever else he wants to go, but took a long time getting here to not get anything.
Yeah, and it is getting a little bit awkward. I think this laning stage is going to be quite prolonged, and especially for Husky, he's trying to be very obnoxious here, but yeah, Kim got scout out by Gunner.
Kim misses with the cookie, but now Kim has unfortunately blocked himself off with the fissure, so Gunner should just scatter blast for it. Nope, holds it. Okay. Need to use it. Gets the kill. Now that rotation from Kim is even more awkward because, well, not only do you get picked off, you give another kill over to that mid snap. They're actually going to stick around in the bottom lane. He's got the kisses coming back up, so... I don't know if you want to fight this if you're Lava. Okay, well, if you've got these many TPs, maybe you can give this a go. But Gunner gets in, Cookie onto 2. Leo Style locked down. Kisses are now going to come out at short range, and yeah, Leo Style doesn't want to be here. He has to back himself away, but that means Kim and Kitaro are stuck in the fight. It looks like they can just fall back to the tower, but that's just a little bit rough on those TPs. They lose the Phoenix, and they don't get anything in exchange. And for Zoomers at this point, they're still here. They could look to go in again. They've got the cookie from Gunner, but Kitaro is in trouble even before the Gunner gets into position. He's got to fall back. Kim trying to run interference, but now he's going to get stunned up. Gunner pushing forward. Can they get the kill onto this Earthshaker? Not just yet. They will finish off, but now Gunner is low on HP. Kitaro sees an opportunity. Will get in there for the return kill. This is a very strange fight, AT. We've got everybody down here now, basically, as 4 Zoomers will finally back away. But honestly, if you're Lava, you know, that doesn't go too poorly. It does suck to lose a couple of heroes there, but Kitaro lived, and we were able to get a big kill onto Gunner.
Yeah, Kitaro lived. Sure, you lose the support there. Leo Style actually leaves, I think, a little bit early, but he already got his Flame Guard kind of popped. I think Gunner tried for the self-cast Mortimer Kiss exploit and then may have accidentally canceled his own ulti because it was only 1 or 2 shots, and I think in doing so, doesn't get the kill on the Ember and doesn't get the follow-up on the PA, but at the very least, if you're Lava, you defend your tower, kill Gunner, but unfortunately, he just followed Kitaro all the way around, and he had to run the other direction.
Nope, not good enough. Kitaro taken down. Leo Style is here, though. Catyu's coming in, but Z-Freak's right behind him. I don't really know what they can do here. Leo Style wants to force this, but he is going to lose his shield, and he may just lose his life. He's got to jump away. He'll be able to get out, but now Catyu's the one who's in some trouble. He has the Icarus dive. If he can somehow get away, looks like he's going to be fine, and 4 Zoomers can't dive any further. But close call on 2 of your cores, and well, at the very start of that fight, I mean, they lost the PA, so really that's all 4 Zoomers were looking for there.
Gunner, he's looking for it.
Z-Freak's able to jump away at least, but yeah, Gunner wants the fight, so underneath the tower, he is going to be able to get the kill. Leo Style would love the return play, does get it, but now the kisses into the Omni. That's not even close to worthwhile. Leo Style lays out for the kill and then immediately gets punished.
Yeah, I just don't feel like they understood that Gunnar was still playing around, and in classic Four Zoomers fashion, they just have the perfect, a little bit off-kilter wards that find them the vision to stick around and know that they can make that play. And now, what an awkward position to be in if you're Kitaro. Sand King, of course, took over your lane. Meanwhile, they're killing mid with the Tiny. Four Zoomers are just everywhere. They're just surging ahead of their opponents right now. And I think maybe once Leo Style gets all of his remnants back, we could see him go for maybe more aggressive plays. But that's also where, with 4 points up in the Flame Guard, you kind of needed to go for this to have your shield whenever the Snapfire tries to kill you. But he's got the farming build. He does not do that much damage. Once he gets max light in this Orb of Corrosion, I could see him feeling a little bit more effective. But this is a little bit of a rough start for Lava for sure.
And now you can see maybe the downside there. If he has a point in the Searing Chains after he jumped away, he's right next to Z-Freak on about half HP. That's a kill that, if you have the lockdown, you can try to get, but without the Searing Chains, there's just no chance to make that happen. So instead, Leo Style and Kim are going to start rotating their way bot, looking to help out Frank here, who does have a potential opportunity. He may just go in for it himself, as Husky is going to get taken down. Tower Shot should finish him off, so now Kim and Leo Style can focus exclusively on Moo, but with Gunnar coming in, they've got to be very careful. There's going to be the Cookie Stun connecting onto 2. Scatter Blast will take Kim down. Now, can they still get themselves out? Moo, well, he is running. Is there anyone here with the cutoff angle? As of right now, no. So Lava may just have to let this one go. It's going to really just turn into a 1-for-1 on the supports.
Yeah, and hey, at the very least, Frank still gets to defend bottom tower. Your play fails there. Kills a bunch of Husky's creeps as well, so the Chen needs a little bit of a reset, but your Sand King is going to have his blink pretty soon here, and I think that's where Lava can look to get a little bit more aggressive, and that's where the space will be made for Kitaro, but he is going for that Battle Fury. It's going to be a long time before we really see very much coming in from him, unless he feels like he can actually get some kills, but that's also where Z-Freak is also level 6. So if you stick around too long, Pango is going to be there with the Punish of the Rolling Thunder. You can't really afford to take a big team fight just yet. It's why everybody's still so split, but it's also where, for Zoomers, trying to get on the mid tower. Unfortunately, this push comes out a little bit too late. The cart's already dead, so it's not the most damage that they can get. And I think, really, that's the name of the game here if you're Lava. You keep these tier 1s alive, you extend the laning stage, you stop the breakdown of the map, and then suddenly your PA's late Battle Fury doesn't feel so late, and with Kitaro really not greeting out at all, going for an Orb of Corrosion or maybe a Wraith Band, he's going to have it pretty soon.
Progress is not the fastest, but it's still okay for the situation. But this is where, looking at 4 Zoomers, you've got triple your opponent's kill count. You've got a 4K lead, but you need to start translating this into those objectives. And, well, how successfully can they actually do that? You see Gosable starting to get himself going with the push down bot, so they're at least going to get that tower. First tier 1 that they claim. Now, well, you have to take that success and roll it elsewhere. Keep the Juggernaut going. Have Husky bring in this creep army. See what they can do, but at the end of the day, it does feel like if they want another tower, they're going to have to take some sort of fight. Lava aren't just going to sort of play entirely passively at this stage, especially with Frank having the combo ready. The blink is there. The epicenter is available. So they are not quite on the hunt, but trying to set up, getting themselves onto this high ground, and they'll wait and see who comes up here. Oh, no, they will not. Frank's just going to go in. They see Moo mid. That's a big stun from Kim as well, hitting onto Gunnar. It allows the epicenter to come out in its entirety. But the Hand of God, though, prevents them from getting initial kills, and they might not get anything. Catnew is going to channel out the Supernova, but here comes Gunnar in with the Shredder.
Oh.
They'll finish it off, and it's just an absolute disaster. Leo Style, you are late to the party. Now he has to try and get himself out of here. Not really sure how much he can do. His Remnant is right underneath the tower, and yeah, Moo's just sitting and waiting. There's the Ava into the toss. They'll take him down, too, and Lava... Well, I said they were waiting on the high ground. Frank decided, no, we're not. Maybe they should have waited and played it a bit more safe. That's 4 dead and no kills.
Yeah, and that's your turn. You try to kill the tankiest hero in the game, and you, of course, immediately get turned in. Losing Kitaro would be quite the loss here. Gunnar does the exploit right this time around, and there's your kisses. And there you go. That's quite a big win for 4 Zoomers here. And now they do have to be careful in mid. They will lose this tower push onto the mid tier 1, but I think they're going to take that every single day of the week. What a victory.
Yeah, that is just big. You will take a missed opportunity on the tier 1 to get Kitaro off the map, because still not done with that Battle Fury. It continues to be delayed, and Katyu, this is not a good spot to be in. He's going to get stunned up, and he started the Icarus dive first, so just another easy kill. For Zoomers really feeling themselves right now, getting into full form, and well, I said before, how can they translate these kills into objectives? Well, if you get enough kills, the objectives kind of just set themselves up for you.
Yeah, and now Costabile, of course, going for the diffuser build, same build he went for last night. He is ready. He is raring to go. He's looking for these objectives, and I think that's where Lava need to buy space. They need to wait for, honestly, another Blink Dagger coming in from your Shaker, and then maybe they have enough damage to finally get these kills, because the problem is, at least in terms of the Earth Shaker, you don't really provide that much right now. You're great lockdown, you're great from afar, but unless you get in first, the epicenter is going to kill the entire creep wave. It's going to split up all these heroes, and he's looking for his Blink bottom, and I think he will get it if he's just given a little bit more time, but that's also where Z-Freak is finding his Blink Dagger in pretty much the same rate, and it's unfortunately a situation where if he does get that roll-off kind of done, this looks like a sure kill though.
Epicenter used and Echo Slam, but at this point, you're down so much for Lava, you just need kills. Doesn't matter how much you have to throw out there. So they find the pick. Frank's going to be able to farm up the wave a little bit more as well. And was that enough? Not quite to get the blink. But at this point, he's so close that really he just needs to not die in the next minute, and he's going to have it.
Yep, in 15 minutes, they take the mid tower. They know that without their ultimates, can't really pose a defense. Even if the Sand King came, Costabile would just spin on top of him, and then you're hopeless in that situation as well. And I think that's where Lava, they do have their important items right now, but it's also coming at a time where we're in between a lot. And that's where I think for Zoomers, this is a perfect play from them. They know that they can take this. This is still playing off the fact that there are no ultimates on Lava right now. And, well, this is a free Aegis. Probably for Costabile just because he's the only one hitting the buildings here. But this is also coming at a time where Gunnar has Blink Shard. He is the most powerful hero. And no steal. Can't you just scouted it out, though?
Looking just in case he tries to get the Icarus in there, but not going to take that chance. But now Leo Style, narrowly dodging the cookie stun there as he is able to fall back. But Katyu has been spotted. He's holding his Icarus, so he could just look for the dive into maybe a TP out, but he's got to get the right angle, and he needs to not get hit by that. The avalanche comes in. Toss will follow. Still not dead yet, though, so the Icarus dive will get him away, but not far enough. Z-Freak chases with the swashbuckle, and they will find the kill. And now Frank is going to get caught trying to cut creep waves. Does he have the blink? No, it's going to get canceled. Gunner's able to hit him up. Moo comes in with the Ava. They've got it. That one is much bigger than the kill onto Katyu. Frank, it's a nice play trying to cut that creep wave, but if you get punished for it, it's just a very, very costly place to be standing in.
Yeah, and if we're Lava, we are quickly losing agency in this game. The rats are getting killed. We're getting picked up across the map. We're really just food for Zoomers to play with. And there's no threat onto Costabile. There's no reason for him to stop his push once he gets started. And that is a massive problem for Lava. They've got the Echo Slam at the very least up in 14 seconds. We could maybe see them look for a play, but it's also where you're looking to who they're making a play onto. They need to find the backline. They need to find Gunner specifically, but that's the problem where Gunner is unfortunately halfway towards a BKB, and once he has that, well, now you're looking at the backline. You're looking at the Chen, you're looking at the Pango, and it's where I think they might just win by having this force of 3 coming up onto the high ground, and if Z-Freak can just hide himself and get a roll-off, they win every team fight handedly. There's just no way for them to really find an opening unless they get that jump. It almost feels like Zoomers need to make a mistake in a high ground push before they're actually able to find that opportunity, because right now, they can afford to be split. They can be afforded to only show 2 hitting a building while having the rest just waiting in the wings. And this is another brutal smoke here. It's the same ward that killed the Phoenix 3 minutes ago, and it's just a dead PA.
Well, if you're looking for a silver lining, at least he got his Battle Fury. But yeah, he's dead, and Kim spotted. Mortal Kisses coming in at short range. Canceled out, though, by the fissure, but Kim is definitely not getting away. Z-Freak is able to dash in there for the kill, and now Leo Style. A lot of the lockdown has been used, and he's not even going to give them the chance. He'll just jump away to the Remnant, but it feels like Lava at this point are just having to sacrifice so much ground, so many of their heroes, and what they're getting back in exchange just doesn't really feel worth it. Meanwhile, Husky has just a stupid number of skeletons pushing down the middle lane.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to see what's going on with the HP bar because, you know, you walk over and then you see plus 51 on the skeletons and you're like, wait a second, this is in the game? Now, where's Katara? Katara would love to just dive in here. I almost feel like they're baiting this much farm in front of Katara's face. Oh, he wants it so bad, but he can't get it. Where's the slam? Where's the Earthshaker? Someone.
Jim is looking at it. The
Oh,
problem is, ooh, okay, Leo Style's in there. That's going to clear out most of that. So, at least somebody is able to grab those. The only problem is if you're 4 Zoomers, you don't really care. You lost some skeletons. That's whatever. But you are still in control. You're on your opponent's side of the map with a 10k lead and looking at potential high ground pushes pre-20 minutes. So,
that was
it
like
really got
1,000
everything.
gold, though. That was like 1,000 gold straight up just into the hands of the Embers.
Maybe they care a
Kind of
little
crazy.
bit.
Kind of crazy, but it's where they still are waiting for a lot of those item timings. I honestly think we need like an Aghanim Scepter on the Ember Spirit before we can really get this split push game started, but at the same time he also needs BKB, but yeah, caught Mu away from the group. That is a very well needed kill. Even get a Philosopher's Stone on the way back. Okay, caught up away from the group. That's a kill that really I didn't think that he was going to give up here, but this is also the problem with 4 Zoomers. With the buildup that they went for, especially on the Snapfire, no boots of travel. It's a similar problem that they faced in one of their games that did go late versus an SA lineup where the rat kind of becomes a problem that you have to deal with. You're giving your opponents maybe a little bit too farm. In return, sure, you're getting objectives, you're starting to translate the map, but you wonder if the rate of change is just a little bit too slow, and that is going to be a concern for 4 Zoomers. They need to keep on hitting here, and they also need to watch these creep waves, because you know that that's the game plan for Lava. They are not going to fight you, at least on even terms, for a very long time in this game, but all it takes is 1 or 2 fights and 1 or 2 big items, and suddenly the viability for them to actually flip this game on its head increases heavily. It's something that 4 Zoomers got to be scared of.
You just have to be so careful of this. But as you said, they don't really have... There we go, Frank able to blink away from Costable. They don't really have a lineup that's going to immediately be able to fix those problems, as you were mentioning. That mobility is a little bit suspect for them, or at least mobility between the lanes. Their lineup's not slow physically, but if you send somebody to try and fix one of the lanes, then Lava can just push out the other 2, and as of right now, they don't really have the resources to address multiple lanes at once. Kataro, though, cannot get caught here. He has to be so careful. He's building his way towards a BKB, but yeah, just got to TP out. This is really the name of the game. You have to buy time. Your PA really can't afford to fight up against anybody right now with just a Battle Fury, so the stall tactics coming into play for Zoomers, though. If they can't fix the problem, ET, at what point do they just get tired of dealing with it and try to push their way down one lane in particular?
Well, that really is the problem, as Katyu does the bug. Very cool being outside of the Dota 2 map. That's totally fair and balanced, but it's where I think 4 Zoomers, they need to now wait for the Juggernaut. The Jug needs a damage item, and unfortunately for 4 Zoomers, he's getting a pseudo damage item. This is more or less just an answer for the PA, and that is where 4 Zoomers, they are doubling down, tripling down even when it comes to their itemization for the team fight. They've got a BKB on Gunner, full Blink Dagger built up on the Tiny. They just need to find the fight, and I think Katyu might be caught in between, at least by the Skeleton Army, but that is also where, look, they get the kill top, they're finding the rats, they're splitting across the map, they're getting a little bit sloppy on Lava, and that's where 4 Zoomers, they can also make this choice. Instead of going for the push, just doubling down on killing their opponents, that will also work, because there's not a lot to defend the tower whenever all these heroes are respawning and forced into the well. And Kataro, well, that's a sad situation if he does go down here, but creep wave in the nick of time.
Gunner, he's got a haste rune for just a second or two longer. He tries to chase Kataro, though. That is a nifty spot in the trees to TP out, and could not afford that death ET. He's able to get himself out, so there's your good news, but Gunner with the haste just ran into his jungle, and again, Kataro can't fight. He's just got to run away. He does get out, but this is not the way you really saw this PA going right now. 23.5 minutes, he's 0-3-2, so eventually you have to assume that power is going to be there, but it's going to require a lot more time to be bought. As Frank, caught out in the top lane.
Yeah, And Frank, he's going to be okay with that death because he does keep his tier 2 top alive in doing so, which, of course, in turn buys space for bottom, which buys space for Kataro to re-enter into the jungle. But it does feel a little bit like game 2, where they are just building up very quickly on 4 Zoomers. Maybe they're missing their timings here and there when these convoys do leave the basin. And he needs to be very careful. Z-Freak's coming. He's going to be able to help him if the play does come, but you have to wonder, do they have enough here? It's too early.
Well, they're not going to get an Echo Slam out here, really, as Kim is just getting hit up. He's not dead yet, but now you don't have your position. But the Supernova, it is coming through. They're not going to be able to take it down, but Costabile, he doesn't really care. He's just going to spin his way onto the Earthshaker, able to finish that kill. Now they'll turn their attention back to the Phoenix, and that just gets too complicated for Lava. If that's a 3v1, sure, then maybe they can make it happen, but with the reinforcements arriving in time, they just have to cut their losses.
Yeah, and the stark difference between that play and the one that happened before was Frank was not involved. He was still waiting on his timer. They felt like the moment was coming in the bottom lane, and Moo surely showed up, but it's also where 4 Zoomers, they learned from their mistake. They weren't going to hang Moo out to dry. They weren't going to kill him off again, but it's also where the time is getting pretty close here, especially once that second Roche gets taken, and they're going to force Lava pretty much all the way back to the base here, and they have to come. The MKB is done. Costa Bela is actually starting to hit pretty hard, but as soon as 4 Zoomers decide that their opponents are stuck in the base, that's where the Roche becomes the next question, and honestly, Lava might be able to find a little bit of an engagement there. Katara's about to finish his BKB, but you also wonder, is that going to be too far out? Is that going to be too scary? And an Aegis really doesn't change all that much in terms of 4 Zoomers game plan. It still really is just Costa Bela hitting the tower. Everybody else still needs to die first if you're Lava. The problem is just, do they have enough? Is this really enough space spot? They still need more items.
Just have to keep playing the same game, basically, that they have been. Try and delay. See how much time and space you can create, as Frank is going to venture down to the bottom lane. Just trying to keep the waves pushed out. Katara doing the same up top. He is so damn close to that BKB, but not quite there yet. But while he's farming, there's the push into the Roche pit. Hey, wow, just melted.
Yep, it's just super dead, and unfortunately that's a fight with the creeps, and they make a find a Z-Freak at the same time. Get the Rolling Thunder. Don't think he's able to chain up onto the Ember Spirit, especially if Leo Style does feel like he's going to die. He does have that BKB, but unfortunately that's your clump that 4 Zoomers can't really do anything about with how the pit's designed, but this does mean at the very least they get to push in 2 of the 3 creep waves. They get to fix a little bit of a problem here, but I think with this final trip, Kataro did finally get that BKB, but it still feels like now is your answer to smoke into an Aegis and look for another core pickup. You have to really only look for the Tiny, because Gunnar has a BKB, Costa Bela has an Aegis. I don't think they can really afford to kill anyone else. Worst case scenario is I think they break on Husky, but they'll have to take it.
Yeah, they'll take the kill, they'll take the creeps. Not an insignificant amount of money, but not what they were really hoping for. But at least you're able to now buy some more time. Husky dead. You are maybe a little bit more hesitant on 4 Zoomers to now push into a fight without the creeps or the Hand of God, so Lava can continue to delay. That really is the name of the game. We've said it over and over again, but that's because the strategy has not shifted. Kataro, with the BKB now up, is going to start looking for damage with that Deso, and once he has the Desolator, now Kataro can be maybe an actual threat in these fights. Until then, still more of the same. Duck the ganks coming in from 4 Zoomers, try to wait out this Aegis, and I guess just bring heroes back to the high ground when 4 Zoomers look to actually pressure it.
Yeah, and that's where 4 Zoomers, they can't get lazy. Once they use that healing ward, they do have a pretty free window to actually hit that tower, but it's also where the Phoenix needs to get caught when he goes to kill said healing ward. It also means that 4 Zoomers have to be ready to help out Costa Bela. I don't think he's going to be the one to try and get bursted here, but with his build, until he gets that Scotty, he's actually pretty thin. He's a little bit fragile right now. It has good armor, but aside from that, his HP pool is certainly killable if Lava are able to hit him for just a few moments, but that's where I think Costa Bela, he is still more or less bound to that healing ward timer. He's got 25 seconds to hit a building, and then he resets. All of the tier 3s are a little bit hit up. Top one, not so much, but mid and bottom, that's where we're going to see 4 Zoomers strike next.
Gunnar. Smart blink, getting himself out there before the fissure could connect, and just a generally smart play because he was starting to get in between. Frank was ahead of him, and obviously Lava had 2 or 3 heroes behind him. But now Frank is hanging out in no man's land. Looks like he's going to be just fine. Got himself the Lotus and actually cancels his TP home. So good news is he's out here to cut another creep wave. Bad news is if there's a play mid, he's not going to be able to get back in, but is there going to be a play? Sablé is just going to go for the spin. He threw down that healing ward, as you said, so he's looking to get some pressure onto that tier 3 tower. They hit it with the Shredder as well, but the Glyph is going to come through, and now there's not really a whole lot Sablé can continue to do for the next few moments, and how long does he want to wait this out? Because he does still have the Aegis. They could really just go all in for this, and now they have to be careful. Frank pushing in, gets off the burrow strike. Sablé, though, still doesn't care. He just goes back in with the spin and will eventually take that tower down.
Yeah, and really getting the Paladin Sword, what a combo. He heals in his own Blade Fury, he has the Spell Life Steal, he has the actual healing coming in through the healing ward, and, well, with a minute left, they still can't afford to go for it, and yep, there's the interrupt.
Well, Avalanche from Moo is perfectly placed. Cat, you and Frank are both dead. Buyback only available on the Phoenix, and, well, Kataro's out of the base. He's trying to take down some creeps there. He will at least get them, but that means that that push onto the mid-racks is really uncontested as Moo now sees another opportunity. They'll jump in onto Leo style, locking him down. They get the kill. Buyback now comes out from Phoenix, but I just don't really know if they have an opportunity to fight here. Maybe if the Supernova's in the right spot, but they need everyone else up. Leo style can buy back, but Frank can't.
Yeah, I really don't know. I think this is just going to be 2 lanes of racks. Maybe 4 Zoomers switch their posture once the Aegis is reclaimed, but this is also where they've used for basically nothing, just the roll, and okay, Z-Freak might not be part of the fight now, but you still have BKBs, you still have Kisses, and the Shaker, he's trying to inch forward, but they also know that unless they get this healing ward, and it has to be the Shaker when he blinks in, there's no damage coming through. Everybody's just going to be full HP, and they get another reset. It's where Lava are more or less running out of time. Kataro just finished off his Deso, so at the very least, you have some anti-armor, and the Aegis is about to expire, so Costabile surely will back off just a little bit more here, but it's the same situation as Game 2, where Lava will lose one more fight, it's just going to be over. If they lose Kataro, it is over. The game will just end. There aren't buybacks right now. They've gone for items instead. And really, I think Leo style has to go in first, has to force out any reaction from 4 Zoomers, and then we look for the re-engage with this buyback. Without that, I don't know if they can generate enough of a force to really force 4 Zoomers into that mistake. This game is just really getting difficult for them to play.
Starting to run out of time, starting to run out of opportunities, so, well, we'll see what the play is from Lava, because, as you said, maybe one more lost fight, and then it's just all kind of over for you, but the good news is that they've got everything back up. Echo Slam's there, Epicenter's there, Supernova's going to be at the ready, and Leo style should pretty much be topped off on Remnants. So all the firepower at their disposal will be available. It's just a question of whether or not that's enough and whether or not they actually get to use it, because if they get just jumped in on here, Frank does a nice job of dodging the initial stun, but now Moo comes in. He's going to hit the Avalanche on the 2. The toss comes out. The Phoenix just gets taken down. Cat, you can't ult. Frank will fall as well. And this is just not looking fantastic. Leo Styles now dead. The remaining heroes just have to try and run, but by heroes I mean one hero, because Kim's the only man still alive. And, well, if Kim dies, that might just be it. There's only one buyback available right now. Kim does have one, but just really have to wonder what good that will do right now. Is Kim certainly going to make them work for this kill, but they will get it. And I think that might just be it from Lava right now. Ember and Earthshaker can buy back, but can those two hold off 5 heroes inside of their base? I would probably say not at the moment.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it feels like they're going to go out with a whimper. I think they're going to know pretty soon, and maybe we see Moose go for some crazy buyback Echo Slam whenever they're all grouped up on the tier 4s. I'm really sad Husky doesn't have any more skeletons running around here, but even though they're not calling it, I think the game is almost surely over. One more Echo. We got that coming in. I almost wish he buybacks and just goes in just to see what could possibly happen, but they don't have Glyph. The Ancient's surely going to die here. They don't even need to worry about the egg. They might have to step back just for a few seconds, but this is it.
Ancient dropping 800 HP. Kusable is just going to spin his way in to try and finish it. And Lava, I mean, they're trying, but there's not enough. They can't stop those people from hitting that Ancient, and 4 Zoomers, they respond perfectly, really. They dropped the first game, but back-to-back really dominant showings as they do take the series, and they will move on to the grand final.
Yeah, and I think looking back at game one, they were really all in on that TA pick, and a TA pick that I think is relatively difficult for a lot of teams to run, and one that they've certainly showed their strength on before. But it's almost like if you don't have that perfect offlane, if you don't have that great initiation coming in, well, then you get caught by your opponents. And I think Frank really played up that series on the Centaur, and in that game specifically, he was just finding so many heroes almost happenstancely stacking on top of each other. And now in this game, well, it's the opposite because Gunner's the one happenstancely finding cookies and lava heroes stacked on top, really in the mid lane whenever Cat dove in to try and kill the healing ward, ends up getting two with the cookie because Frank is just standing there sandstorming. That's really kind of the early collapse, but two games in a row for Zoomers, they just really like losing that first game, heating up a little bit, and then reverse sweeping their opponents. But, well, that's where now they've got a big dog to beat. Going up versus Thunder Awaken, that's going to be a task that no one else except for, well, as we keep on bringing up, Hikori have been up to. But even Hikori kind of get their back broken. I think now for Zoomers, we'll have to see how they decide to go for their drafts going forward. If the Tiny is going to be highlighted some more, if the TA is going to be the opening they go for, if we see them loop back around for the Mars, there's really a bunch of different ways that this could all go. And will Thunder Awaken pick Snapfire Ember for the, I think, 15th time in a row? We'll have to see.
Yeah, Thunder Awaken just have so many sort of tricks up their sleeves, so many things that they can pull out to really try and get the edge on their opponents. But for Zoomers, as we've sort of repeatedly said, if there's one team in this field that has sort of shown us the adaptability, the willingness to sort of shake things up, to make some of those forcing moves or unexpected moves in the draft, they do certainly fit the bill there. So this might be their perfect opportunity to go up against Thunder Awaken, but we'll have to wait and see because, yeah, it has been quite hard for anyone to really make Thunder Awaken bleed. So, I believe, yeah, we are going to have a bit of an extended break here for Four Zoomers. Obviously, they just come off of a full 3-game series. We're not going to toss them into a best of 5 immediately. So they get some time to just, chill, reset, look for the next one. As part of that, I am not sure if we're doing an interview here with Four Zoomers. We may be leaving them alone to take their break in peace. So if that changes, I'll come back and I'll let you guys know. But I think for right now, we might just be leaving them alone for a little bit.
Yeah, but in the meantime, as Costa Bailey said, we chill. We're gonna relax. Kick our feet up. Look at game one maybe a little bit. See what we did wrong. See what we did right in game two. If they have that same forcing move, I really think game two draft was a stroke of brilliance. If they can recapture that, I'm certainly looking forward to their new series.
So we'll see. Can they finally challenge Thunder Awaken and pull off what honestly would be an upset here, or can Thunder Awaken just maintain their dominance? We'll be finding out in about 15 minutes from now. As I said, extended break for Four Zoomers, but when we come back, it will be the Game 1 draft between Thunder Awaken and Four Zoomers. So stick around. Our grand final for Pro Series 10 is coming up next.